This is Sexy Funny Raw, where we chat all about the world of sex, from dating and relationships all the way to the adult industry itself. I'm Silvia Saige, and this is my Pornspective, answering all the questions you weren't even brave enough to ask Google. Get ready, because Sexy Funny Raw starts now.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Sexy Funny Raw. I am your host, Silvia Saige, and joined in studio with me is Dr. Eddie, giving us his public health perspective. And I'm so very grateful to have in studio with us the lovely, the talented actor and comedian, Ashley Ryan, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, everybody. Oh my God, thank you.
Today we are going to talk about a subject that I feel like doesn't get enough play. So today we are talking about romance and sex. And in my world, those are two things that don't really get to go together very often. But I definitely think that nowadays especially, well, at least where I'm at in my life personally, I am looking for more romance in sex. I'm not looking for the pounding. I'm looking for a real intimate connection with some pounding. Is that not what we're all looking for, though? Like, it's a little bit deeper of a connection with somebody that you're having sex with. Mm-hmm. Maybe not just a normal hookup culture that we're so used to, a Tinder where you're swiping left, you know, and I don't even know what you do on Hinge. Do you swipe on Hinge? I'm sure you do. I don't know. All the different dating apps are really kind of making a hookup culture be a norm today, but I feel like we've gotten so far away from intimacy and romance, so we're going to talk about it. So I feel like a big problem is, well, I feel like a problem for the majority of people is that we're looking so superficially when dating, right? We're looking for looks or what are they driving, just the very basic artificial things that don't have anything to do with the actual real person. So we're not really even getting to connect intimately because we don't know any intimate details about our partner. So I think one of the first things that we can do is, well, get to know somebody, you know, ask some questions. That might be step one for us, right? Mm-hmm. I think when we're
I don't know. I disagree sometimes.
You disagree?
Yeah. So I've actually experienced like a really deep romantic intimacy with someone that I met at the party. He was the caterer. He cut the cake for me and then he handed me the cake and then I ate it and then we just like instantly started making out. And then we ended up like going home together that night and we just had like the best like intimate, and I remember stopping him. I was like, wait, like, are we like making love right now? Like, I've never like done this with like someone like first time before. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, like he's like, that's what I'm like into.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
I actually really like that.
Yeah.
But I think that so when you say, are we making love right now? Yeah. Do you mean just like that you slowed it down, that there's more making out, or what do you consider like a love making?
I consider a lovemaking for me is looking directly into someone's eyes.
Huge.
And feeling the connection, not just like your eyes can have all different sorts of expressions, but like just having that complete vulnerableness and like, you know, when you actually open up your eyes and they can see directly into your soul, you know, the eyes are the window of the soul. Yes. I very much believe that. And that's what making love is for me. And I actually never even made love. Like I lost my virginity in 2009 and I never made love until 2019. Wow. And I was shocked when it happened.
Wow.
And
that was with the stranger?
No, it was with someone that I was dating. Okay. And, you know, I think we started out too, like it was kind of hookup-y, like how our relationship started. And then I still remember the second that it happened because I like started to look at him in the eyes a certain way. And then he says, what are you doing? He's like, I know what's happening right now. And then that made him get even more into it as well. And just like the pleasure we experienced was even greater than anything we had before.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so that's the first time I made love.
No, I love that. I think you made a really good point about the looking somebody in the eyes. I think that, I don't know what it is, but it's something that like innate, like connects you. And it really
it's with the
does.
Natural chemistry.
Yes.
Like love at first sight. I think that's what that means.
It really does somehow bring you like closer to that person. And I feel like for me, that's why I asked for you what it meant to you, because I feel like for me, it is a slowed down version of sex. It's feeling every part of that person. It's feeling the small movements. It's feeling the skin on skin. It's, your lips to their lips. But it's just, I feel like it's so much hotter when it's a slowed down, orchestrated, like dance that the two of you are doing, as opposed to, missionary into doggy into this, and slamming me up against this wall, which can be hot and which has its own place. But I definitely think there's a time and a place, and there's, a different style of sex that you can have with a romantic partner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Eddie, you're silent over there.
I agree 100%, actually, but that would be my preferred direction, I think.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but it's certainly lacking in some of in culture right now.
Yeah.
It's certainly not the go-to.
Yeah.
And so meaningful doesn't really happen that much anymore.
And I think getting to know someone on like a deeper level is kind of secondary for me, but it like makes it that much better, like when I know it's like a safe space and maybe we have the same perspectives on like politics or just like what life is in general. I think that's super sexy.
Kindness.
Yeah.
Understanding.
Exactly. And gentle love is
right.
what I like. That's what my therapist tells me I like. But
yeah, I think, I think that's what
she's
I
like. That's what you need.
But I think those are traits that we forget that we're looking for in a partner. We're not looking for, like, when you're on a dating app, you're not like, oh, I'm going to look for the kindest guy I can. But that's truly what you're looking for in a romantic setting, right? You want somebody who like is caring and thoughtful and who cares about your needs versus their own, strictly. I want you to care about your needs also, but I want you to care about mine as well and have that understanding.
Yeah.
But again, that's not on a dating app. You're not looking for the kindest man over 6 foot. No, you're looking, like.
Well, the hookup culture also messes us up a little bit, only because you're jumping right into it. There's sometimes no foreplay.
Yeah.
All of those things are a part of it. And so, like, the slowing down, the not having sex right away or not having sex the first time certainly is outdated at this point. But I think it really adds to romance.
Well, one thing about the hookup culture for me is it kind of like makes me doubt my own self, because as much as I am involved in a hookup culture, like if I'm truly into the guy and I've hooked up with him, which is probably the only reason I've hooked up with him is I'm truly into him, is I want it to go somewhere else. I am a fuck on the first date girl. Like I am fully aware of, I love fucking on the first date. If I'm into you, I'm into you. But then a lot of times that also pushes the guy away, and then he doesn't want to come back for a round 2. He doesn't want to come back for a second date. Meanwhile, my feelings are so fucking hurt because I'm like, what was wrong with me? What did I do wrong on this date? Was I bad in bed? Did I not do XYZ correctly? Was I too much of this or too little of that? And it gets in my own ego game, the hookup culture does.
I call it my Cinderella story.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, when you go to a shoe store and you have them take out every single box.
Yeah.
And you're like, I want to try on all the shoes.
Yeah.
But then there's always that one that has the perfect fit. But then sometimes you're just a girl that likes a bunch of shoes in her closet and maybe you wear them once and never use them again. And they get like mad at you. And,
I have shoes I've never even worn because they were pretty. They were pretty when I walked by them, and I've never worn them. So
on the opposite side of your story, Sylvia, though, I'd say that like potentially for some guys, maybe having sex right away takes away the mystery, takes away the all of that. And so I've gone into relationships or met someone where I'm very into them and said, I'd rather not have sex, but then you do have sex. The same thing you knew was going to happen sometimes happens.
Yeah.
Right? Where the mystery's gone, all of those things, even if they were amazing yesterday, now that you've had sex, that sometimes leaves. And so how much of that is my problem?
Right.
Probably most of it.
Yeah.
But still, it's certainly the reality for some people.
It's like you want what you can't have.
But I think personally, now this is just me personally, I think because so much of my life is public to people, and because like I work in pornography and I do this show and I talk about all my own personal experiences, I feel like I have nothing to hide already. So I feel like if you're on a date with me, you already know pretty much everything that there is to know about me. So I'm like, why aren't we fucking? Because I would like to know what your dick is like so I know if I want to continue this myself, But I get the opposite reaction. That does not play well for me. I've got to stop sleeping with people on the first date.
It's not just about what their dick looks like. Come on.
Well, no, but I want to know, like, am I going to enjoy you sexually?
Yeah.
I want to
I'm not
know
just
that.
a penis, Sylvia.
No.
I'm a person too. Like,
Hey, she has a Costco card. She likes her free fucking sample, okay?
eyes
Yeah.
here.
I do want to sample the product.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Like,
I
is
a
this what the
sample.
rest of my life tastes like?
Right. And I'm not even saying that that's how you're going to cook it forever. I'm saying, like, I would just like to know. Yeah. We're back to the kitchen.
Can we get Cisco and Pam to sponsor your podcast?
No.
They are not our preferred method of lubrication.
Definitely not.
No, yeah. Okay, so that's a thing for me though, because I feel like not having sex on the first date is just another like game to play. I feel like, and I hate games because if I'm into you, I'm into you. If I'm not into you, I won't sleep with you, and that's how you know I don't want to see you again.
But if you are waiting, like, how long do you wait? Like, when's the right time before you can do it and it
that's
becomes
the question. Who knows?
Is it like third date?
Right.
I think it's really hard to gauge that.
Right.
Yeah.
I've had those conversations before where one partner wants to today, and one partner's like, let's
On
wait
the
a little
today.
bit on the today, right? Or let's wait a week, whatever that entails. Let's go on a few dates. Let's try something else. And so the moment should theoretically happen when it's supposed to happen after you've purposely paused a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? So I like the pause.
I think the only reason I would pause is if I'm unsure of their intentions. And I think that we may have different intentions for what's happening. So if I like start to like someone and I can tell that like maybe they think trans is like a kink or something, or they're just kind of saying the wrong things, and I'm just like, oh, let's like wait it out and see. I don't know. Just because maybe it's like a little insecurity thing.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that as a porn actress. I feel like I'm a kink. I'm a notch on somebody's belt so they can tell their friends I slept with this porn star, you know? So I feel like I get the same like judgment, you know? So it's like you're not trying to like take me home, but you want to definitely tell your friends, you know? So it's like it gets to an uncomfortable place. I definitely understand it.
Doctors are rarely kinks.
I mean, they are kinks.
If you wear your stethoscope on the date, let's just say it might go down.
Not that.
Pull out one of those rubber gloves. Yeah, things are
I have them in my bag.
are going
I just carry
down.
them. My little sex.
Yeah, that's your
Like at
sex
home,
bag.
like do you bring the little like paper thing over your bed? Like,
I wish.
It depends
I hope
what
to
app
God
I
you
was
do.
on and who I
oh, good answer.
That's a great idea,
What
actually.
apps are you on?
I mean,
the gay ones are super typed. I feel like they have like the Scruff, which is like for hairy men,
Grindr,
and then there's another one. What's the other? There's like a Sniffies. Do you know what Sniffies is?
I don't know most of them actually. I know a couple of them, but I don't
Sniffies
know.
is like
What is that?
more anonymous. Grindr. Like based where it's like location based, except like people use their genitals as their profile
right.
pics.
I was gonna say.
So
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
I want to meet up with this, and you don't really know what their faces look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Eddie takes notes.
Sniffies.
Niffies. That is one I did not know. Okay, so one important fact, because I want to make sure that we at least address this because I really like this. So one of the things that you are releasing when you are in that romantic setting with the person, when you're outside of that hookup culture, is oxytocin. That's something you're releasing during the sexual experience. And what I learned today is that oxytocin is the same thing that a mother produces after giving birth to a child. So it takes you to this whole nother level of like love and enjoyment, fulfillment. So being with that romantic partner is on a physical and chemical level a better place to be sexually.
You're not going to love him like you love your baby.
Well,
it's not
right.
role playing.
Right.
But it's the love hormone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's often referred to that way.
This is not something we have down in here, but I just want to know personally. So there's something about a man coming inside as opposed to pulling out or whatever. What is that makes you feel so much more connected? Because I feel like that's a more connected moment is when a man ejaculates inside.
I mean, it's certainly cultural, but it's definitely biological as well.
Okay.
Right?
I think it has to be.
Biological
Oh
is-
my God.
I mean, it's a reproductive.
It's about about reproduction, of course.
I didn't know
so,
that.
Yeah.
That's why we have sex.
No, but even
Well,
for
that's
even
why
for gay
some people
people,
have sex.
it's still a turn on though.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Oh my God.
I do not have sex for reproduction. Let's get that straight. That is not why all people have sex.
Neither do I.
Okay. I am not having any reproduction, just the sex. Yeah. But of course, sometimes you want passionate but wild sex, but there can still be that love even when you're having wild, crazy sex, right? Because also I feel like sometimes I wouldn't trust a random stranger to do some of the wild, crazy things that I want to do. I would want that with a trusted partner, right? Personally.
I think it
Both
really,
of you
really
were like,
depends. It depends on what community, what circles you're in, I think. Because it's certainly quite common in a lot of circles to have some of those wild kinks with strangers.
Yeah.
Right? In like the unit of a relationship, it certainly makes sense. I could see how it could be potentially dangerous for a woman to meet a stranger to do those things because of the society we live in and all of those things. But I would say it depends on what communities you're kind of hanging out with.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I will also trust some of my porn people to do some crazy stuff, so I'd be okay with that. I mean, hell, I let Cherie put her whole foot in my vagina, so, there's...
She's got cute little feet.
There's things. Not so little. Not so little when they're inside you, but there's that. Yeah, she does have a smaller size foot, but yeah. I'm still fully in my...
I've only seen them in stilettos.
Fully, yeah. Oh, that did...
always in stilettos.
Thank God she was not that day. She might have started that way, but we certainly did not end that way. Yeah. Okay. Research has even suggested that the benefits of having satisfying sex last for up to 2 days for a couple to help increase the pair's feeling of connection and closeness, which... That tells me we should be having sex at least every 2 days, right? 3 to 4 times a week, people.
Only if it's that kind of meaningful, engaging sex, right? Because you don't get the same thing when you're having often, when you're having other type of sex.
But I mean, it does make sense because if you're having actually really good connecting romantic sex with somebody, how are you going to be mad at them 24 hours later?
You'd be surprised.
Okay. But I mean, at least there's a little bit of like leeway of like, oh, they didn't put the toilet down, but I came so hard, so like, I'll just put the toilet down.
But how many men make sure women do that?
Very rare. No, very rare. But it's a thought.
Right.
It's a thought. But I love that. I love that can like lead to like at least a little space of euphoria, right? Just to give you a little bit cushion of they're not driving me so fucking crazy just this week.
Or a break from the world.
Or that too.
Yeah.
Oh, I've always said that sex is like a, well, obviously we know it's a big stress relief, but I've also said it like helps with sickness. And we've talked about this on the show before. I had an ex who would always, anytime he was like sick, he was like, will you just fuck me? Or like if I was sick, he'd be like, I'll just fuck you. That way you'll feel better. And it always somehow did make it better.
Well, it boosts the immune system.
Okay.
It does have some like very specific.
Oh my God, can we get this like as a prescription?
Yeah.
I don't need the pills. I just need a man.
I just need to get fucked and I'll feel so much better.
Have you ever had to say that to someone as a doctor? Like,
I'm not the
go
kind
get
of
fucked.
Be like, you just need to go out and take a dick.
I mean, I play a doctor on TV, and I've said that plenty of times. So.
In research, we rarely have those kinds of conversations. So no, we don't typically say.
But people don't ask that stuff in like doctor school. Like, hi, like, what do you? I don't know.
Not so much.
Okay.
I get a lot of questions. Usually it's penis questions from guys at random times and places, actually. That happens all the time. But depends on what kind of research you do. It depends what your expertise are. Like, not every PhD has focused on sexual health. Not every medical doctor has also focused on sexual health. So there's a lot of diversity in the credentials and the background and what people study and stuff like that. So, like, sexual health is a big part of my research, and so yes, I know some of that, but I'm not really talking to patients or anything like that. I'm talking to people that have experienced things to talk about their experience, right? It's a little bit different.
So how can we have more romantic sex? Okay, all about foreplay, building that connection, having the proper communication, and connecting emotionally with that person, right? Romantic love serves a commitment-related function and sexual desire a reproduction-related function, but it also goes beyond that by strengthening bonds. So, what can we do? Well, we talk about sex. We could learn different ways and different partners and that we find romantic, right? Get to know your partner's inner world. That eye contact is so very crucial. Holding hands, cuddling, and maybe even trying certain positions. The lotus position is very much known to be a very sexually intimate moment where you're literally just face to face, skin to skin. And obviously this is a male-female version of this. We could not find a male to male or trans to trans.
Father to son.
Thank God we could not find.
No. It's just like you're facing Santa.
Opposite of Santa.
I tell him exactly what I want for Christmas.
But I think just those, like the moment of face to face, being intimate, having that eye contact, being able to kiss and talk to people and have that proper communication, I think is just really what we're looking for a romantic intimate.
I do think that the challenge with that position, however, it really depends on mobility and age, and it's going to depend on the size of body parts and what fits into what. And it's really not a thrusting position, so it really depends on how people like to get off, right? And so all of those things are variables. And so I think ultimately the lotus position, what it does is it brings you to the front.
Yeah.
Right? And it brings you to the front, to their face, and it makes you look in their eyes and maybe whisper something or joke with them and have those intimate, fun moments that you wouldn't otherwise have, in doggy style up against a wall.
Right.
Which has a time and a place.
Right. Nothing wrong with that position.
Definitely.
Ashley, anything else that you think you need to throw in?
Yeah, no, I think some people I've been with have been more in the tantra yoga space. And one thing that I've experienced is breath work.
Yeah.
And one thing you can do, I forgot what it's called, but breathing in the air as the other partner breathes it out. It's like you're sharing that life energy.
Interesting.
And it can feel a little bit dirty, although when you're in a room with other people, you're all breathing in the same air.
Right.
But it just makes you feel a really deep connection, and your bodies are it feels like your bodies are actually connecting at a deeper level than just insertion. So that's something I've tried before, but I would also say to don't do that with a stranger. Do it with someone that you just really feel like you can trust, and hopefully they don't smoke, because I'd probably throw up if they did.
Unless they both smoke.
But again, kinks for everybody. Maybe somebody's into that. So not trying to shame anybody, not trying to make you feel bad about the sex that you are having, just opening you up to maybe different ways of sex that you might want to try in a more intimate sexual experience.
Also, I like something you have written down here, too. Yeah. It says, don't make it about the orgasm and focusing just on your partner's wants and needs. And I know sometimes you can get caught up with you need to do this to make me.
Yes.
And then sometimes just focusing on them and then seeing their excitement might actually bring yours.
Yeah. No, that's one of my favorite things in sex is listening to the other person, actually enjoying the sex. I love listening to the moans and the little things that you say. Those are my favorite.
But there's a line, because here in Los Angeles, everybody's about mine, only mine.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's a line. I think we have to be careful.
Yeah. But in saying that, I wish you the best of luck with the happiest, healthiest, romantic, or wild sex that you want to have. So, thank you so much, Ashley, for being in studio with us today. Tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me, Ashley Ryan TV, on all social media, or trying the lotus position later tonight. It's more than an origami, people.
I love it. Thank you so much, Ashley. We have truly enjoyed having you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Eddie, of course, for being here and giving us your public health perspective and providing all facts that we need for this show. Without you, this show could not happen. So thank you so much. All right, guys, that is it for us. And until next time, adios.